The rain was merciless that night, slapping against the window pane like it wanted to break in. Inside a small apartment, Anna Nguyen sat on the edge of her bed, holding her swollen belly, whispering softly to the two tiny lives inside her. She was due any moment now. The clock showed 11:42 p.m., and her contractions had started coming closer, sharper. She reached for her phone with trembling fingers and called her husband. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. Finally, a text popped up. "I'm busy, Anna. Don't make a scene." Her heart dropped. He had promised to be with her when their babies were born. He had sworn it, holding her hands under the cherry blossom tree just months ago. But now, as the pain grew stronger, Anna realized she was alone. Meanwhile, across town, Mark Tran, the man she had trusted with her life, was in a luxury hotel suite. Candlelight flickered across his bare chest as Lisa Pham, his lover, poured him another glass of wine. "She'll be fine," Lisa whispered, wrapping her arms around him. "She always manages." Mark hesitated, his phone buzzing on the table. He looked at it once, saw Anna's name, and flipped it face down. Back in the apartment, Anna's water broke. Panic hit her chest. She grabbed her hospital bag and stumbled toward the door, every step a battle. She didn't even have time to call an ambulance. A taxi driver passing by saw her struggling and rushed to help. "Hospital," she gasped, clutching her belly. "Please, fast." The car sped through the empty streets. Rain blurred the city lights, and Anna bit her lip to keep from screaming. She thought of the ultrasound photo she had taped to her phone, the twins smiling like angels in black and white. "Don't worry, Mommy's here," she whispered. But inside, she was breaking. At the hospital, chaos greeted her. The nurse couldn't find her file. The system had crashed. In her dizziness, Anna followed the wrong sign and was led into the wrong room. She collapsed onto a bed, unaware that this room belonged to someone else entirely. A powerful man waiting for a surrogate mother to deliver his heir. Moments later, the door swung open. A tall man in a tailored suit stood there, stunned. It was Daniel Lay, the CEO of Le Medical Group. His eyes widened as he saw Anna's face. For a second, time froze. "Anna?" he whispered. She looked up, disoriented in pain. "Do I know you?" Daniel took a slow step forward, his voice low, trembling. "You saved me, years ago, the car crash. I never forgot your face." Before Anna could respond, a sharp contraction made her scream. Nurses rushed in, and Daniel's hand instinctively reached out, holding hers tight. He didn't let go. And as thunder cracked outside, he said something that made her heart stop beating for a second. "I was waiting for you." The storm didn't stop. Lightning flashed through the hospital windows as Anna screamed in pain, her hand still gripping Daniel's. Nurses rushed around, shouting medical terms she couldn't understand. "You're 8 centimeters dilated. We need to move now," one of them yelled. Her body trembled, her breath shallow, but her heart hurt more than her body ever could. Her husband should have been there. The father of her children should have been the one holding her hand. But he wasn't. Across town, Mark Tran buttoned up his shirt, ignoring the guilt that pricked at his chest. Lisa Pham, the woman lying on silk sheets behind him, smiled smugly. "You don't have to go, Mark," she said softly, her tone dripping with poisoned sugar. "She'll have doctors. She'll survive. Tonight, you need to think about yourself for once." Mark paused. "She's giving birth to my kids, Lisa?" Lisa pouted, walking up to him and wrapping her arms around his waist. "Our future depends on you staying here tonight. The investors from Singapore are waiting downstairs. You know your wife never supported your dreams. She only dragged you down." Her voice was hypnotic, each word tightening a rope around his heart. He hesitated for one long, weak moment, then gave in. "You're right," he muttered. "She'll be fine." Back at the hospital, Anna's screams filled the room. Daniel stood beside her, refusing to leave. He had seen strong women before, but nothing like this. Nothing so raw, so determined. "Breathe, Anna," he said gently, brushing sweat from her forehead. "You're almost there." She barely heard him. Every contraction was a wave of pain crashing against her will. She wanted to hate Mark for abandoning her, but right now, all she could do was fight to bring her babies safely into the world. Hours passed like minutes, and finally, the sound of 2 tiny cries filled the room. Twin boys. Healthy. Beautiful. Tears streamed down Anna's face. She whispered, "My babies," and kissed their tiny hands. For a fleeting moment everything felt perfect, until she realized the phone she had dropped earlier was blinking with a new message. She opened it with shaking fingers. It was from Mark. "Don't wait for me. I won't be coming." Anna's heart shattered. Her vision blurred. The phone slipped from her hand, landing on the floor beside the hospital bed. Daniel saw the message and clenched his jaw. He had known betrayal before, but seeing it done to her stirred something inside him he couldn't name. As the nurses cleaned the newborns, Daniel turned to her. "You're not alone," he said firmly. "Do you hear me, Anna? You're not alone." But Anna didn't answer. She had already drifted into unconsciousness from exhaustion, tears still wet on her cheeks. Daniel looked down at the two infants now sleeping quietly beside her. He made a silent promise to himself that night. Whatever fate had thrown her way, he would not let her face it alone again. Outside, the storm finally stopped, but inside the hospital, a new one was just beginning. Morning light crept through the blinds, soft but cold. The rain had stopped, leaving the world washed and quiet. Inside the hospital room, the faint beeping of monitors mixed with the gentle breaths of two newborns sleeping beside their mother. Anna slowly opened her eyes, her body weak, her throat dry. For a moment she didn't remember where she was. Then she turned her head and saw them, her babies, wrapped in soft blue blankets. Her heart swelled and tears filled her eyes again. But then the memory of last night came crashing back like a knife through her chest. Mark's message, his betrayal, the silence. She reached for her phone, hoping it had all been a nightmare. It wasn't. The message was still there. "Don't wait for me. I won't be coming." She pressed the phone against her heart and cried quietly, careful not to wake her babies. A soft knock came at the door. Daniel stepped in, dressed sharply but with eyes heavy from a sleepless night. "You're awake," he said gently, holding a cup of warm tea. "You should drink something." Anna tried to sit up, grimacing from the pain. Why are you here?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He placed the cup on the bedside table. "Because you needed someone," he said simply, "and I owed you that much." She frowned weakly. "Owed me?" Daniel smiled faintly. "You don't remember, do you? Years ago you stopped your car to help a stranger in the rain. That was me. I never forgot the woman who saved my life when everyone else just passed by." Anna blinked, confused. Her mind was foggy, but something in his voice told her he wasn't lying. "That was you?" he nodded. "And now fate brought you here, to my hospital." Silence filled the room. The weight of his words was heavy, almost unreal. Anna looked away, her eyes on her newborns. "I don't even know what to do now," she murmured. "He left us, just like that, on the day our sons were born." Daniel's expression hardened, but his tone stayed soft. "Then you start over," he said, "and you don't have to do it alone." Before Anna could reply, the door burst open. A nurse hurried in, holding a clipboard. "Mr. Lay, there's a problem," she said nervously. "The woman from room 407 is demanding her private suite back. She says this patient—" She hesitated, glancing at Anna. Daniel cut her off. "She stays," he said firmly. "No one moves her without my permission." The nurse blinked, surprised, then nodded and left. Anna looked at him in shock. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," he interrupted gently. "Rest now. The world can wait." As he turned to leave, Anna whispered, "Thank you, Daniel." He paused by the door, looking back at her with something unreadable in his eyes. "You're stronger than you think, Anna, but soon, you'll need that strength more than ever." Because outside that very hospital, Lisa Pham was waiting, with a plan that would destroy everything. The sound of heels echoed through the hospital hallway like sharp cracks of thunder. Lisa Pham, dressed in a striking red coat and oversized sunglasses, walked straight to the reception desk. Her perfume filled the air, sweet but suffocating. The nurse looked up nervously. "Can I help you, ma'am?" Lisa smiled. That perfect rehearsed smile she used whenever she wanted something. "Yes, I'm looking for Mark Tran's wife. She delivered twins last night, correct?" The nurse hesitated. "I'm sorry, but we can't release patient information." Lisa leaned in closer, sliding a crisp envelope across the counter. "I just need to make sure she's comfortable," she said, her voice low and dangerous. The nurse swallowed hard and nodded toward the elevator. Lisa smirked and walked away, her heels tapping rhythmically against the floor. Upstairs, Anna was feeding her babies, her fragile body wrapped in a thin blanket. Daniel had left to handle meetings, promising to return soon. She hummed softly to her sons, trying to drown out the echo of her husband's betrayal. For the first time since giving birth, she allowed herself to smile. Then the door opened. "Anna," a familiar voice purred. Anna froze. The bottle in her hand trembled. Slowly she turned her head, and there she was. Lisa Pham. Perfect makeup, designer clothes, that cold smirk on her face. "You?" Anna whispered, disbelief mixing with fear. Lisa walked closer, her heels clicking on the tile floor. "You look awful," she said sweetly, her eyes scanning the room. "I heard you had twins. How cute. Mark told me they look nothing like him." Anna's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her eyes filled with tears, her heart pounding. "Why are you here, Lisa? Haven't you done enough?" Lisa laughed lightly. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm just getting started. You see, Mark and I, well, we're building a new life. He doesn't need your baggage slowing him down." Anna's voice cracked. "Baggage? They're his children." Lisa leaned closer, her voice turning to a whisper. "Not for long. Mark's already making arrangements to change the records. He doesn't want anything tying him to you. So if you're smart, you'll disappear quietly." Anna's tears rolled down her cheeks, but her voice trembled with strength. "You can't erase what's real, Lisa. You can't erase a mother's love." Lisa smirked again. "We'll see." She turned toward the door, but before leaving, she added cruelly, "Oh, and one more thing. You might want to find another hospital. This room doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Daniel Lay. Didn't you know he doesn't do charity for free?" The words hit Anna like a slap. When the door closed behind Lisa, the room felt colder than ever. She looked down at her babies, her tears dropping onto their tiny hands. For the first time, doubt crept into her heart, not just about Mark, but about Daniel too. And outside that door, Lisa made a call. "It's done," she whispered. "Now let's see how long the poor wife lasts without her hero." Because the next move in her game would ruin Anna completely. 2 days later, sunlight spilled through the hospital windows, but Anna felt none of its warmth. She sat on the bed, staring blankly at the discharge papers. Her babies slept peacefully beside her, unaware that their mother's world was collapsing piece by piece. Daniel had arranged everything, room, care, and bills, but now whispers floated through the hallways. She could feel the nurses' glances, hear the murmurs behind her back. Something had changed. When Daniel entered the room, he noticed it too, the tension. "Anna, is everything okay?" he asked gently. She hesitated before answering. "Did you pay for everything here?" "Why?" He frowned. "Of course, you needed help." Her eyes flickered with pain. "Lisa was here. She told me you don't help people unless you want something in return." Daniel's expression darkened, understanding instantly who was behind it. "Lisa Pham," he muttered. "That woman knows no limits." Before he could say more, a young nurse rushed in holding a phone. "Mr. Lay, you need to see this. It's spreading online." Daniel grabbed the phone. His jaw tightened as he read the headline. "Married woman seduces CEO in hospital after husband leaves her." Below it was a photo. Anna crying in bed, Daniel standing beside her, holding her hand during labor. Someone had taken the picture and twisted the story. Anna's face went pale. "Oh my God." Daniel clenched his fists. "This is Lisa's doing. She's trying to destroy you." But the damage had already begun. Within hours, social media was flooded with cruel comments. She trapped her husband and now a CEO? Gold digger pretending to be a victim. Poor Mark. Mark himself saw the posts while sitting in a luxury cafe with investors. The color drained from his face. "What the hell is this?" he hissed, slamming his phone on the table. Lisa, sitting across from him, pretended to be shocked. "Oh no," she gasped dramatically. "How could she do that to you? Maybe she really was seeing Daniel behind your back." Mark's pride burned. She wouldn't? Would she? Lisa leaned closer, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Men never know what women are capable of when they feel abandoned." By noon, reporters were outside the hospital. Cameras flashed. Nurses whispered. Daniel tried to keep them away, but Anna couldn't hide forever. As she stepped into the hallway, clutching her newborns, a reporter shouted, "Anna Nguyen, did you seduce your husband's boss?" She froze, her eyes wide. People turned to stare. Some laughed, some pitied, but all judged. Daniel appeared instantly, blocking the cameras. "Enough! She's a patient, not your headline." He guided her back inside, but Anna's tears had already fallen. "I didn't do anything wrong," she whispered. "Why are they doing this to me?" Daniel's voice was steady. "Because you're vulnerable. But listen to me, Anna. truth has a way of surviving lies. She looked up at him, lost between fear and trust, and at that very moment, Mark Tran walked through the hospital doors, holding Lisa's hand. The hospital lobby fell silent as Mark Tran stepped through the glass doors. He wore an expensive suit, his hair perfectly styled, his expression carved from stone. Beside him, Lisa Pham looked flawless, as if she had walked straight out of a magazine shoot. The two of them together radiated power and poison. Cameras immediately turned toward them, the click of shutters echoing like gunfire. Anna stood frozen at the end of the hallway, clutching her babies in trembling arms. She felt the world spin around her, each flash of light stabbing deeper into her chest. Daniel moved instinctively in front of her, shielding her from the reporters. Mark's eyes locked on Anna. "We need to talk," he said coldly, ignoring the chaos around them. Daniel's tone was sharp. "She's recovering. This isn't the time or the place." Mark sneered. "Stay out of it, Daniel. This is between my wife and me." "Your ex-wife?" Daniel corrected, his voice like ice. Lisa smirked at that, stepping closer. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. We're all adults here. Anna knows her place now." Anna's lips trembled, but she stood tall. "My place?" she said softly. "You mean the place you took from me?" Lisa tilted her head mockingly. "Sweetheart, I didn't take anything. He chose me. You just weren't enough for him." Mark's face tightened, but he didn't defend Anna. He only said, "You embarrassed me, Anna. Do you have any idea what that scandal did to my reputation? Pictures of you and Daniel all over the internet. Investors are questioning me." Anna stared at him in disbelief. "You left me alone, Mark. You weren't there when our sons were born. You didn't answer the phone when I was bleeding and begging for help." Lisa interrupted with a laugh. "Oh, please, stop pretending to be a victim. Everyone knows women like you always play the sympathy card." Daniel's patience snapped. "That's enough, Lisa." But Lisa stepped closer to Anna, whispering so only she could hear. "You'll never fit in his world, Anna. Not Mark's, not Daniel's. You'll always be the poor teacher who got lucky for 5 minutes." Anna's tears burned her cheeks, but she refused to look away. "Then I'll stay poor. But at least I'll have my dignity." Mark clenched his jaw. "Fine, keep your dignity. But those boys," he pointed toward the twins, "will not carry my name. I'm removing them from the family registry." Gasps erupted around them. Daniel's hand balled into a fist. "You're disgusting," he said through his teeth. Mark turned away. "I'm protecting myself. Goodbye, Anna." He started to walk, but Anna's weak voice stopped him. "Mark," she whispered, "one day you'll regret the moment you walked out on your family." He didn't turn back. As the elevator doors closed behind Mark and Lisa, Daniel turned to Anna, his eyes filled with quiet fury. "They think they've won," he said. "But I promise you, Anna, they have no idea who they just tried to destroy. Because the next time they met, Daniel Lay would no longer be her protector. He would be her weapon." The next few days blurred into one long nightmare. Anna was discharged from the hospital quietly, escorted by Daniel's assistant through a back entrance to avoid the cameras. The world outside had already chosen its side, and it wasn't hers. Every article painted her as the villain. Every photo twisted the truth. She stopped reading them after the third headline called her the gold digger who trapped 2 men. At home, the silence was suffocating. Her small apartment felt emptier than ever. She sat in the corner of the couch, holding her babies close, their tiny hearts beating against her chest. "It's okay, my loves," she whispered. "Mommy's here. Mommy won't let anyone hurt you." But inside, her own heart was breaking. The bills piled up quickly. Hospital fees, baby supplies, rent. The school where she worked had suspended her until the scandal cleared. Parents didn't want a homewrecker teaching their children. Daniel called several times, but she couldn't bring herself to answer. She didn't want pity. She didn't want another man saving her. She just wanted peace. By the end of the week, she was running out of formula. She wrapped her babies in blankets and went out into the cold morning air. At the supermarket, people stared. Some whispered. Others simply looked away. She felt invisible and exposed at the same time. As she paid at the counter, her card was declined. She tried again. Declined. Her cheeks burned with shame. The cashier gave her a look that pierced her pride. "Maybe you should check your balance, ma'am." Behind her, a woman whispered loudly, "Isn't that the teacher from the news? The one who chased her husband's boss?" Anna's hands shook. She left everything on the counter and rushed out, her eyes stinging with tears. She didn't notice the car parked across the street. Inside, Lisa was watching with a satisfied smile. "She's cracking," Lisa said into her phone. "Just a little more pressure, and she'll disappear for good." That night, Anna sat in the dark, rocking her babies to sleep. The power had been cut off. She hadn't eaten all day. For the first time, she let herself whisper the words she had feared. "Maybe they'd be better off without me." Her phone buzzed suddenly. It was a message from Daniel. "I don't know what you're going through, but I haven't stopped thinking about you. Let me help, please." She stared at the message for a long time, torn between pride and desperation. Finally, she typed back one sentence. "I don't need saving, Daniel. I just need a chance." Minutes later, her phone rang. Daniel's voice came through, calm but firm. "Then take that chance. Come to the hospital tomorrow. I have an offer for you." Anna hesitated. "What kind of offer?" There was a pause, then Daniel said quietly, "The kind that could give you your life back." She looked down at her babies, sleeping peacefully. For the first time in days, a faint spark of hope flickered in her chest. But she didn't know that by accepting his offer, she was walking straight into the storm that would change everything. The morning air was crisp as Anna pushed the stroller through the hospital courtyard. It had been almost 2 weeks since her world collapsed, but Daniel's message still echoed in her head. "Come to the hospital tomorrow. I have an offer for you." She didn't know what to expect, or if she even deserved another chance, but something inside her whispered to go. Daniel's office was on the top floor, spacious and filled with light. When she entered, he was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out over the city. The view screamed power and success, everything her life was not. Yet when he turned to face her, there was only warmth in his eyes. "Anna," he said softly, "thank you for coming." She sat carefully, adjusting the stroller beside her. "You said you had an offer," she began, her voice guarded. Daniel nodded. "I've seen how strong you are. Most people would have broken by now, but you're still standing. That's why I want you to run something for me, a new early childhood center I'm funding." Anna blinked, confused. "Run? A center? I'm not qualified to." "You're a teacher," he interrupted gently. "You know how to care, how to teach, how to rebuild. I'll handle the business side. You just bring your heart." Her throat tightened. "Why me?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Because I believe in you, and maybe because I need someone I can trust." For the first time in weeks, Anna felt a flicker of pride. But it was quickly smothered by doubt. "People will talk, Daniel. They'll say you're only helping me because of what happened." He shrugged. "Let them talk. I've been called worse." Anna looked down at her hands, trembling slightly. "I can't take your money." "It's not charity," Daniel said firmly. "It's a partnership. You need a fresh start. And honestly, so do I." Silence filled the room. The faint cry of one of her babies broke the moment. Daniel knelt beside the stroller and gently adjusted the blanket. The tenderness in his eyes was something she hadn't seen in a man for a long time. Genuine, patient, protective. "You've been fighting alone for too long, Anna," he said quietly. "Let someone fight with you for once." She stared at him, torn between fear and hope. "If I say yes, what happens next?" He smiled. "Then we start rebuilding your name. Together." For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine it. A life not defined by pain or scandal. A place where her children could grow up proud of her. She nodded slowly. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll do it." Daniel extended his hand. "Welcome to the team, Miss Nguyen." Their hands met, warm and steady. For the first time since giving birth, Anna smiled. But as she left Daniel's office, a pair of eyes watched from the hallway. Lisa Pham, hiding behind sunglasses, recording every word. She whispered into her phone, "He's falling for her. Perfect. Let's make sure that love ruins them both." Because Lisa wasn't done yet, and her next move would turn Daniel and Anna's alliance into a ticking bomb. The new week began with cautious hope. Daniel's project moved fast. Contracts signed, permits secured, and a new space ready to transform into a children's center. For Anna, it felt surreal. She wasn't a scandal anymore. She was a woman rebuilding her life. The laughter of her twins echoed in the bright, half-painted classroom. And for once, she allowed herself to dream. Daniel visited daily, sleeves rolled up, helping carry supplies and fix furniture. His presence made everything feel possible. You're getting good at this, he teased one afternoon as Anna showed him the colorful designs she'd drawn for the kids' reading corner. She smiled shyly. Guess I remember how to be happy again. Daniel's expression softened. You deserve that, Anna. For a moment their eyes met, and something unspoken filled the air. But before either could say more, Daniel's phone buzzed. He excused himself to answer, stepping outside. That's when the door opened. Lisa Pham walked in, uninvited. Her heels clicked sharply against the tile, her red lips curling into a cruel smile. Well, look at you, she said mockingly. From abandoned wife to charity project. How inspiring. Anna's heart tightened, but she stayed calm. Leave, Lisa. You're not welcome here. Lisa laughed lightly. Relax, sweetheart. I'm just here to congratulate you. You've done what most gold diggers couldn't. Caught two men's sympathy in one lifetime. Anna ignored her and turned back to the paints, trying to focus on her work. But Lisa wasn't done. She wandered around the room, pretending to admire the drawings. Cute. Does Daniel know you're using his money to play teacher? Anna froze. He offered this. I didn't ask for anything, Lisa smirked. Of course you didn't. Women like you never ask. You just cry at the right time and let men do the dirty work. Anna turned sharply. You can say whatever you want, but I'm not afraid of you anymore. Lisa's smile vanished. You should be. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Because Mark and we're not finished with you. He's filing for custody. He wants the twins. Anna's breath caught. He can't. He abandoned them. Lisa shrugged. The internet doesn't see it that way. You're the unstable one now. The woman who seduced a CEO while still married. We have everything we need to make you lose them. Anna felt the room spin. You're lying. Lisa pulled out her phone, showing a video, grainy footage of Daniel and Anna from the hospital, him holding her hand, comforting her. The video was edited to look intimate, scandalous. Imagine what the court will say when they see this, Lisa whispered. Anna's voice trembled. You're evil. Lisa grinned. No, darling, I'm smart. The door suddenly swung open. Daniel stood there, eyes narrowed. Get out, Lisa. She slipped her phone back into her purse, unfazed. Oh, I was just leaving. Enjoy your fairy tale while it lasts. When she left, Anna's knees gave out. Daniel rushed to her side. Anna, what did she say? Anna looked up, tears spilling down her cheeks. She said, Mark's taking my babies. Daniel's expression hardened. Over my dead body. Because now the fight was no longer about love or reputation, it was about survival. 3 days later, a thick envelope arrived at Anna's apartment. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were legal papers, cold, cruel, official. Mark Tran versus Anna Nguyen, petition for full custody of minors. Her heart stopped. The words blurred before her eyes. Her babies. He was trying to take her babies. She sank to the floor, clutching the papers, Sal, her breath breaking into sobs. Why, Mark? She whispered. You left us. You didn't even hold them once. When Daniel arrived that evening, he found her sitting in the dark, papers scattered around her like fallen leaves. He filed, she said flatly, her voice hollow. He's really doing it. Daniel picked up the documents, scanning them quickly. His jaw tightened. He's claiming you're unfit because of the scandal, he muttered, and Lisa's testimony is attached. Anna covered her face, crying. She has videos, photos, lies, all lies, but people will believe her. They always do. Daniel crouched in front of her, lifting her chin gently. Listen to me. You're not fighting this alone. I'll get my legal team on it tonight. She shook her head. I can't afford this. I can barely afford baby formula. He gave a small, sad smile. You don't need to. I'll handle it. You just need to be strong, for them. The next morning they walked into the courthouse together. Reporters swarmed the steps, shouting questions, flashing cameras. Anna kept her head down, holding Daniel's arm tightly. Inside, the air was thick with tension. Mark sat at the opposite table in a tailored suit, Lisa beside him, pretending to be innocent. When the judge entered, everyone stood. The proceedings began. Mark's lawyer painted Anna as unstable, a woman who used emotional manipulation and seduction to attach herself to powerful men. Lisa dabbed fake tears as she described Anna as obsessive and mentally fragile. Anna sat silently, her hands shaking beneath the table, every lie cut deeper than the last. Then Daniel's lawyer rose, calm, professional, unshaken. He presented hospital records showing Anna's abandonment, texts proving Mark's neglect, and witness statements from nurses who saw Mark walk out on his wife during labor. When Daniel himself took the stand, The courtroom hushed. I watched Anna fight for her life to bring her children into this world, he said firmly. She didn't seduce anyone. She survived. Anna couldn't stop the tears streaming down her face. Lisa whispered something to Mark, but the judge silenced them with a stern glance. After hours of testimony, the judge finally spoke. Until a full hearing is scheduled, temporary custody remains with the mother. Anna gasped, covering her mouth. Relief flooded her chest. Mark slammed his hand on the table. This isn't over. Daniel turned toward him, voice calm but deadly. No, Mark, it's just beginning. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions again. Daniel placed a hand on Anna's shoulder, guiding her through the crowd. She looked up at him, exhausted but grateful. Thank you, she whispered. He smiled gently. You don't owe me thanks, just don't give up. Because while Anna had won the first battle, Lisa was already planning the next strike, and this one would cut deeper than ever. The courtroom victory gave Anna a few days of peace, but peace was fragile. She could finally breathe again, feeding her twins in the quiet morning light, watching them smile, feeling for a moment like life might be normal again. Daniel checked on her daily, always calm, always steady. Yet beneath the calm, danger was moving. Lisa fam never accepted defeat quietly. Late one evening, Lisa sat in a high-end restaurant across from a man in a dark suit, an online journalist known for trading stories for cash. She slid an envelope across the table. I want her destroyed, she said. Every headline, every rumor, make her the villain again. The man smirked. What's the angle this time? Lisa's smile was ice. Affair, fraud, anything that sticks. By the next morning, the damage began. Anna's face appeared on tabloid covers. Teacher turned mistress, secret ties to CEO's fortune. Another headline read, Daniel Lecotte funding lover's business with hospital money. Daniel stormed into his office, slamming the papers on his desk. Who's leaking this garbage? His assistant looked terrified. Sir, the board wants an emergency meeting. They're demanding answers. Meanwhile, Anna was at the children's center, hanging new curtains in the playroom. When her phone started buzzing nonstop, she frowned, wiping her hands on her jeans. The first message froze her blood. You and your rich boyfriend look good together. Hope he pays for diapers too. She scrolled through more comments. Hate, mockery, disgust. Her phone slipped from her fingers. Moments later, Daniel burst through the door, his expression grim. Don't read anymore, he said. It's all lies. Anna looked up at him, eyes wide with fear. They're saying you stole money from me. Daniel, if this hurts your career. He shook his head. Stop. I don't care about my reputation. I care about you. But the truth was, his career was on the line. That afternoon, the hospital board confronted him with spreadsheets, doctored bank records, and evidence showing funds transferred into Anna's account. This is fabricated, Daniel said through clenched teeth. Someone's setting us up. The chairman frowned. Be that as it may, the press is tearing us apart. Until this is cleared, you're suspended from your position. Daniel's heart sank. Lisa had struck exactly where it would hurt most. That evening, Anna found him sitting in the darkened classroom, shoulders tense, jaw set. They suspended me, he said quietly. Pending investigation. Anna's knees went weak. Because of me. He turned to her. No, because of them. Because people like Mark and Lisa can't stand to see you rise. Tears filled her eyes. Then what do we do now? Daniel stood, taking a deep breath. We fight back with truth. I'll clear my name, and I'll clear yours. But you need to be careful. They're watching everything. Anna nodded, her voice trembling. I can handle it. I won't let them win. But as Daniel left, a black car idled across the street. Inside, Lisa watched through tinted windows, a satisfied smirk on her lips. She lifted her phone and whispered, He's suspended. Phase 2 starts tomorrow. Because her next move wasn't about headlines, it was about breaking Anna completely, from the inside out. Rain returned the next morning, heavy and gray, as if the sky itself mourned. Anna woke to the sound of thunder, her twins stirring softly beside her. She had barely slept. Her mind kept replaying Daniel's words from last night. They're watching everything. She brewed weak coffee and sat by the window, staring out at the street. For the first time in years, she felt truly hunted. Every time her phone buzzed, she jumped. Every notification made her stomach twist. But life couldn't stop. The children's center had to open soon, and she refused to let the chaos destroy her dream. Around noon, a delivery truck pulled up outside. A man in a black raincoat carried a large white box into the playroom. "Delivery for Miss Anna Nguyen," he said with a polite smile. She frowned. "From who?" "Didn't say, ma'am. Just that it's urgent." She signed the form and watched him leave. The box was beautifully wrapped, tied with a crimson ribbon. Her first thought was Daniel, maybe a small gesture to lift her spirits. But when she opened it, her smile vanished. Inside lay a bouquet of dead roses, blackened petals, their stems dripping red dye that looked eerily like blood. Beneath them, a single note. "A mother should know when to let go." Her breath caught. The words blurred as fear gripped her chest. She dropped the note, backing away from the box. The twins began to cry. Her hands shook as she picked them up, whispering, "It's okay, babies. Mommy's here. Mommy's here." Moments later, her phone rang. It was Daniel. "Anna? You sound scared." "What happened?" She tried to steady her voice. "Someone sent me something awful." "I'm coming over," he said immediately. "Daniel, don't." He hung up. 20 minutes later, he arrived, drenched from the rain. When he saw the roses, his face hardened. "Lisa," he muttered, "she's escalating." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "How does she keep finding me?" "She's got people, money, connections," Daniel said, pacing. "But this time, we'll make her trip over her own lies." Before he could say more, there was a knock on the door. A woman stood there, holding a clipboard. "Are you Anna Nguyen?" "Yes, I'm from Child Protective Services. We received a complaint about unsafe living conditions and possible neglect." Anna's blood ran cold. "What? That's not true. Who said that?" "I can't disclose that," the woman said calmly, "but we'll need to inspect your home." Daniel stepped forward, voice sharp. "This is harassment." The officer ignored him and began inspecting the apartment. Her eyes lingered on the wilted roses, the note still on the table. "Ma'am," she said quietly, "threats like this, they can make people question your stability." Anna felt her world tilt again. She whispered, "They're trying to take my children." Daniel clenched his jaw. "No, not this time." He turned to the officer. "Everything here is safe. You'll have our full cooperation, but from now on, every accusation will go through my lawyer." The woman hesitated, then nodded. "We'll be in touch." When the door closed, Anna broke down. "Daniel, they won't stop. They'll never stop." He took her trembling hands in his. "Then we don't hide anymore, Anna. We fight." Because tomorrow, Daniel planned to expose the truth, and Lisa Pham would finally feel cornered. The following morning dawned sharp and cold. Anna barely slept. Every shadow felt like a threat. Every knock made her heart race. But Daniel's words kept echoing in her mind. "We don't hide anymore. We fight." She knew what that meant. He was going public. At 9 a.m., Daniel's team arrived at the Children's Center, setting up cameras, lights, and microphones. A well-known TV journalist was there, ready to record an exclusive interview with Daniel and Anna to expose the truth. For the first time, Anna wasn't just the target of rumors. She was going to speak for herself. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Daniel asked quietly as the crew prepared. Anna adjusted the small microphone clipped to her blouse, her eyes steady. "They've taken everything from me. My name, my job, my peace. They won't take my voice." He nodded with a faint smile. "Then let's tell them who you really are." The cameras rolled. The lights came on. The journalist began, "We're here with Daniel Lay, CEO of Le Medical Group, and Anna Nguyen, former teacher and mother of twins, to discuss the scandal that has taken the city by storm. Mr. Lee, let's start with you. Did you misuse company funds to support Miss Nguyen?" Daniel's voice was calm but powerful. "No. Every transaction is documented and approved by the board. The accusation is false, fabricated by individuals with personal motives." "Personal motives?" the journalist asked. "Yes," Daniel continued. "A woman named Lisa Pham and her partner Mark Tran, Anna's estranged husband. They manipulated evidence and spread lies to destroy Anna's reputation and damage my company." The journalist turned to Anna. "Miss Nguyen, the media painted you as a homewrecker. What do you want people to know?" Anna took a deep breath. "That I was a wife abandoned in a hospital while giving birth to twins. I didn't chase anyone. I didn't seduce anyone. I survived something cruel and humiliating, and I'm still standing because of the truth." Her voice trembled, but she didn't break. The room fell silent. Daniel reached over, gently placing his hand on hers for support. "She deserves justice," he said firmly. The journalist nodded, clearly moved. "And what do you hope will come from this?" Anna looked straight into the camera. I want every woman watching this to know. You are not what they say you are. No rumor can define your worth. Applause broke out from the crew. Even the cameraman wiped his eyes discreetly. But miles away, in a penthouse apartment, Lisa Pham watched the broadcast with rage in her eyes. She hurled her glass across the room, shattering it against the wall. "She's turning the story around," she screamed. Mark frowned, pacing. "Calm down, Lisa. It's just an interview." "No, it's not," she hissed. "It's a declaration of war." She grabbed her phone and dialed a number. "I want the rest of those photos leaked, the ones from the hospital, and dig deeper. Find something that'll make her beg for mercy." Meanwhile, Daniel and Anna left the studio into a flood of flashing cameras. The public opinion was shifting, finally leaning toward sympathy and truth. For the first time, Anna smiled without fear. But just as the light began to break through, darkness was already preparing its next strike. And this time, it would be personal. The morning after the interview, Anna woke to her phone buzzing nonstop. At first, she thought it was more messages of support. People had started to believe her again after last night's broadcast. For a few precious hours, she'd felt free. But as she unlocked the screen, her heart turned to ice. Hundreds of notifications, comments, messages, and then pictures. Her breath caught in her throat. Someone had leaked intimate photos from the hospital, her crying during labor, Daniel holding her hand, his face close to hers. But the captions twisted everything. Secret lovers caught on camera. Proof the CEO affair was real. Fake victim exposed. Anna's vision blurred. "No," she whispered. "No, this can't be happening again." Her twins began to cry from their crib. As if sensing her pain, she stumbled toward them, trying to steady her breathing, but her hands shook too much to hold their bottles. The world was crumbling all over again. Across the city, Daniel's phone exploded with calls. His board members were furious, the hospital investors threatening to pull out. "It's not real," he shouted into the phone. "Those photos were taken when she was giving birth." But the voice on the other end didn't care. "Damage control, Mr. Lee. You're suspended until further notice." Daniel slammed his fist on the desk. Lisa had gone too far this time. At that very moment, Lisa sat in her penthouse, legs crossed, a smug smile curling her lips as she scrolled through the chaos she'd unleashed. "Beautiful," she whispered. "Let's see how long the perfect CEO protects his little saint now." Mark watched her from across the room, unease flickering in his eyes. "You've made your point, Lisa. Maybe that's enough." She turned to him slowly. "Enough?" "She humiliated me in front of the whole world, Mark. She made me look like the villain. So no, it's not enough. Not until she loses everything." Back at Anna's apartment, the knocking on her door grew louder. It was the building manager. "Miss Nguyen," he said awkwardly, "I'm sorry, but some tenants complained about the media outside. The owner wants you to move out by the end of the week." Anna stared blankly. "Move out? I have nowhere else to go." "I'm sorry," he said again before walking away. When Daniel arrived minutes later, she was sitting on the floor some Tnutstermen, surrounded by her babies and boxes of formula. Her eyes were swollen, her voice hollow. "They're everywhere, Daniel. I can't even step outside." He knelt beside her, his heart breaking at the sight. "Listen to me, Anna. We're not done. I'll prove this is all fabricated. I'll make them pay." She shook her head. "You've already lost your job, your reputation. Because of me." He looked at her fiercely. "Because I told the truth. Don't you see? They want you to break. That's the only way they win." Her tears fell silently. "Then what do we do now?" Daniel took a deep breath. "We disappear for a while. Somewhere safe. I know a place." Anna hesitated. "If we run, won't that make us look guilty?" He met her eyes, his voice steady. "Let them talk. Sometimes the only way to survive the storm is to wait for it to run out of thunder." But Lisa wasn't done raining destruction. She had one more card to play, and it would hit where Anna least expected. Night swallowed the city as Daniel drove through winding roads toward the countryside. Rain streaking across the windshield like tears. In the back seat, Anna cradled her sleeping twins, the hum of the car the only comfort she had left. She stared out the window, watching the city lights fade into darkness, wondering when her life had turned into a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Daniel glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "We'll be safe here," he said quietly. "It's an old family property, no press, no cameras, no Lisa." Anna nodded faintly. "Thank you for everything. I don't even know how to repay you." He smiled softly. Just keep breathing, Anna. That's enough. After 2 hours of silence, they arrived at a secluded cabin surrounded by pine trees. The air smelled of rain and earth. Daniel helped her inside, carrying bags and baby supplies, making sure everything was warm and secure. There was a fireplace, soft blankets, and for the first time in weeks, quiet. Anna laid the babies down in a crib Daniel had prepared. She watched them sleep, their tiny faces peaceful, untouched by the chaos outside. She whispered, "They don't deserve this, none of it." Daniel leaned against the doorway. "They deserve a mother who fought for them, and that's exactly who you are." She turned to him, tears glistening in her eyes. "You keep saying that like it's easy, but I'm tired, Daniel. Every time I stand, someone knocks me down again." He stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. "Then stand again. You've survived everything they've thrown at you. You're stronger than any headline." For a moment, they just stood there, silence heavy between them. The fire crackled softly. Then Anna whispered, "Why are you doing all this for me? You don't owe me anything." Daniel hesitated, eyes meeting hers. "Maybe I do. You saved my life once, remember? I was trapped in that wreck, and you didn't even know me. But you stopped. Everyone else just drove past." He took a slow breath. "Ever since that night, I've believed some people are meant to cross paths for a reason. Maybe this is ours." Anna's chest tightened. She didn't know what to say, only that for the first time, she didn't feel so alone. They stayed up late, talking quietly by the fire. Daniel told her about his late parents, how he built his hospital from scratch, and how trust had always been the hardest thing for him. Anna shared stories from her teaching days. The children she missed, the laughter she longed to hear again. By midnight, exhaustion pulled at her eyes. She fell asleep on the couch, her head resting on Daniel's shoulder. He didn't move, just watched the flames dance, his heart heavier than ever. Outside, the rain had stopped, but headlights appeared in the distance. A dark car parked down the hill, its engine idling quietly. Inside it, Lisa watched through binoculars, her smile venomous. "Found you," she whispered. "Let's see how long your little hideaway lasts." Because Lisa's next move wouldn't be public, it would be personal, and it would strike in the dead of night. The night air in the countryside was still, almost too still. Crickets hummed faintly outside the cabin, the fire dying into soft embers. Daniel had finally drifted to sleep in the armchair beside the couch, while Anna lay under a blanket, her twins safe in the crib near the window. For the first time in weeks, she felt something close to peace. But peace, for Anna, never lasted long. A faint crunch of gravel outside made her eyes snap open. At first, she thought it was an animal. Then she heard it again, a slow, deliberate step. Her pulse quickened. The clock on the wall ticked loudly in the silence. 2:47 a.m. She sat up, straining to listen. Another sound, a faint creak, the wooden porch groaning under someone's weight. Her stomach turned cold. "Daniel," she whispered, shaking his shoulder. "Someone's outside." He woke instantly, eyes sharp. "Stay with the babies." He grabbed his phone, switching on the flashlight. Quietly, he moved toward the window and peered through the curtains. Nothing. Just darkness. But then, the faint glint of metal by the trees. A car. Parked. Lights off. Daniel's instinct screamed danger. "Anna, take the twins to the back room and lock the door," he said softly but firmly. Her hands shook as she scooped up the babies and hurried down the narrow hallway. Behind her, Daniel opened the front door, stepping into the night. The rain had stopped hours ago, but the air smelled like trouble. "Who's there?" he called out. No answer, only the rustle of leaves. He walked toward the trees, his flashlight beam cutting through the dark. Then, movement, a shadow. Too fast. He turned sharply, but before he could react, a camera flash exploded in his face. Click, click, click. A woman's voice laughed coldly. "Smile, Daniel. You look so heroic in the dark." Lisa stepped out from behind the car, her red coat catching the moonlight. "You didn't think you could hide from me, did you?" Daniel's voice turned to ice. "You're trespassing, Lisa. Leave now before I call the police." She stepped closer, smirking. "Oh, please. You won't call anyone. That would make this whole secret hideaway of yours very public." She waved her phone in his face. "Photos of you sneaking around at night with another man's wife? The media will eat it alive." Daniel's jaw clenched. "You're insane." "No," she whispered, eyes burning. "I'm just cleaning up the mess she made." Suddenly, Anna appeared at the door, holding one of the twins. "Lisa, stop this," she cried. Haven't you done enough? Lisa turned, eyes full of mock pity. Enough? Oh, Anna, you don't even know what's coming. You think you've suffered? This is just the beginning. Daniel moved between them. You won't touch her. Lisa laughed softly, backing away. Relax, hero. I'm not here to touch her. I'm here to destroy her. Then she pointed at Anna with the cold smile of a predator. Tomorrow morning, the world will see you for what you really are, a liar, a cheat, and an unfit mother. She turned and slipped into her car, taillights vanishing into the darkness. Anna collapsed to her knees, tears spilling down her cheeks. Daniel knelt beside her, wrapping his arms around her trembling shoulders. Because by sunrise, Lisa's final weapon would be unleashed. And this time, it wouldn't just ruin reputations, it would ruin lives. Sunlight crept through the curtains, turning the cabin gold, but inside, everything felt gray. Anna sat at the kitchen table, eyes red from crying, her hands gripping a cold cup of coffee she hadn't touched. Daniel paced across the room, his phone pressed to his ear, barking instructions at his legal team. I don't care what it costs, get those photos taken down before noon. But it was too late. The internet had already devoured the story. Overnight, Lisa's new exclusive leak had gone viral. Pictures of Daniel and Anna in the cabin, taken from the woods. The captions screamed, "Runaway lovers hiding in secret house with twins." Anna's heart broke all over again. She had done nothing wrong, yet the world saw her as everything she wasn't. The comment sections were brutal. She's disgusting. Poor Mark. The CEO lost his mind. Her phone buzzed again, this time from an unknown number. A message popped up with a short video attachment. Her hands trembled as she pressed play. It was Lisa, standing in front of a camera, fake tears glistening in her eyes. I'm speaking out because I can't stay silent anymore, she said in a trembling voice. Anna Nguyen destroyed my relationship. She lied to everyone, used Daniel for money, and now she's hiding like a coward. Then, Lisa leaned closer to the camera, her tone turning venomous. A woman like her shouldn't be trusted with children. Anna dropped the phone, her knees buckling. She's saying I'm unfit again, she whispered. Daniel caught her before she fell. Anna, look at me, he said firmly. She's desperate. This means she's scared. But Anna couldn't hear him. They'll believe her. They always believe the liar who looks perfect. Daniel gripped her shoulders. No, this time we hit back with truth. How? She asked through tears. He hesitated, then said quietly, by showing the world who Lisa really is. She frowned. What do you mean? Daniel pulled out a folder from his briefcase. My investigators found something. Lisa has a criminal record under another name. Identity fraud, insurance scams. She's been hiding it for years. And this, he handed her a document, is proof she faked a miscarriage 3 years ago to trap Mark. Anna stared at the papers, disbelief mixing with fury. This could destroy her. Daniel nodded. Exactly. But once we use this, there's no going back. She'll come after you harder than ever. Anna looked out the window, where her twins slept peacefully in the crib. Her voice steadied. She already took everything from me once. I'm not letting her do it again. Daniel smiled faintly, proud of her strength. Then we do this together. Tonight, we go live, our own interview, no edits, no lies, just the truth. Anna took a deep breath. For the first time, the fear inside her began to turn into fire. Let's end this, Daniel. He nodded, determination in his eyes. We will. Outside, thunder rumbled again in the distance, as if the heavens themselves knew what was coming. Because that night, Anna would face the woman who ruined her, and one of them would never recover. By sunset, the storm clouds gathered again, dark and heavy. Inside Daniel's office downtown, cameras were being set up for a live broadcast. No networks, no filters, just truth streaming directly to millions online. Anna stood in front of the mirror, pale but resolute. Her hands shook as she adjusted the microphone on her blouse. Daniel watched her quietly. You don't have to do this, he said softly. She looked up, her eyes clear despite the exhaustion. Yes, I do. Lisa built her power with lies. Tonight, I'm taking it back. Outside, the city lights blinked alive. The tension in the room was electric. At exactly 8 p.m., Daniel gave a nod to the cameraman. The red light came on. They were live. Anna took a deep breath. My name is Anna Nguyen, she began, her voice trembling at first but growing steadier. For weeks, my life has been torn apart by lies. I was accused of things I didn't do, called names I didn't deserve. But I'm done hiding. She held up a document. This is proof that Lisa Pham, the woman accusing me, has been using fake identities for years. She's the one who created the scandals, who edited photos, who sent threats to my home. Daniel stepped into frame beside her, his tone sharp and confident. And for those questioning the funds from my hospital, here are the real records. Every dollar accounted for. Every accusation false. The livestream exploded online. Thousands joined within minutes. Comments flooded in, some skeptical, others cheering. Finally she speaks. Lisa's done for. This is real courage. Then the unexpected happened. Lisa Pham herself joined the livestream from her account, her comment pinned at the top. Nice performance. Too bad the truth is coming to you in person. Before anyone could react, the door burst open. Lisa strode into the studio, dressed in black, her eyes blazing. The cameraman froze but didn't stop recording. Well, Lisa said, her voice dripping with venom, if you wanted a live show, let's give them one. Daniel stepped between her and Anna. You're trespassing, Lisa. Lisa ignored him, focusing on Anna. You think the world believes you? You think showing a few papers erases who you are? Anna held her ground. At least I don't have to fake who I am. Lisa's smile faltered, rage flashing in her eyes. You took everything from me, she screamed. Mark, my career, my reputation. I didn't take anything, Anna shot back. You lost it because of what you did. Lisa lunged forward, shoving past Daniel. The microphone crackled as the women faced each other, every emotion raw and visible to millions watching live. You want the truth? Anna shouted. Here it is. You lied, you manipulated, you ruined lives. And for what? Attention? Money? You destroyed yourself. Lisa froze, trembling with fury, realizing the entire world was hearing her downfall live. Daniel stepped forward, voice cold as steel. It's over, Lisa. Security rushed in, pulling her away as she screamed. This isn't over, Anna. You'll regret this. The live stream cut off moments later, but not before millions witnessed the truth unmask itself in real time. Anna sank into the chair, shaking, tears streaming down her cheeks. Daniel placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Because while Lisa's empire of lies was crumbling, Anna's real fight for peace, for justice, for her children had only just begun. By dawn, the world had changed. The live confrontation had gone viral overnight, racking up millions of views. Every news outlet replayed the footage. Lisa storming into the studio, Anna standing her ground, Daniel shielding her. The internet, once cruel to Anna, had turned. Headlines now read, "Liar exposed on live stream." Anna win, from victim to victor. But victory didn't feel sweet. Anna sat by the window of the cabin, her twins asleep in their crib, the early sunlight brushing their faces. She should have felt free, but instead, she felt hollow. The chaos had finally stopped, yet all she could think about was how much she'd lost along the way. Daniel entered quietly, holding 2 cups of coffee. The world's finally seeing who you really are, he said softly, placing one in her hands. She gave a weak smile. The world's fickle. Today they love me. Tomorrow they'll find someone else to hate. He sat across from her. Maybe, but truth lasts longer than gossip. Anna sipped her coffee, her voice trembling. I didn't want revenge, Daniel. I just wanted to be left alone. I know, he said, but sometimes peace has to be earned. The knock on the door startled them both. Daniel stood and opened it cautiously. A police officer stood outside, rain dripping from his hat. Mr. Lee, we're here on official business. Daniel's stomach tightened. What's this about? Lisa Pham, the officer said. She's in custody. She turned herself in this morning. Anna froze. What? The officer nodded. She confessed to fabricating evidence and stalking you, said she wanted to make it right. Daniel exhaled slowly. Thank you, officer. After he left, Anna sank into her chair, her face pale. Lisa confessed? Yes, Daniel said softly. It's over. But Anna didn't smile. No, it's not. People like Lisa don't confess unless they're planning something. She was right. Hours later, the news reported that Lisa Pham had been hospitalized after a sudden breakdown during questioning. Mark Tran had been seen entering the police station, shouting her name. Cameras captured his distraught face, guilt written all over it. Daniel turned off the TV. She's spiraling. Maybe that's punishment enough. Anna shook her head slowly. I don't want her destroyed, Daniel. I want her to understand what she did, to me, to my children, to herself. He studied her for a long moment. You're a better person than she'll ever be. That night, the rain returned. Soft, cleansing. Anna tucked her twins into bed and stood by the window, watching droplets race down the glass. She thought about everything, the betrayal, the lies, the humiliation. Somehow, through it all, she'd survived. Daniel joined her quietly. "You don't have to keep looking back," he said. She turned to him, her voice a whisper. "Maybe I'm not looking back. Maybe I'm finally ready to move forward." He smiled, and for the first time, she smiled back without fear. Outside, lightning flashed, illuminating the horizon. It felt like an ending. But deep down, Anna knew it was something else entirely. Because even though Lisa was gone, the truth she unleashed still had one final secret left to reveal, and it was buried in Mark Tran's guilty eyes. The next morning arrived quiet, but uneasy. Anna could feel it in her chest, the kind of stillness that came before another storm. She sat at the kitchen table feeding her twins while Daniel scanned through his phone, reading the latest updates. Lisa's confession had made national news, and Mark's name was now plastered across every headline. Businessman implicated in scandal cover-up. Lisa Pham's partner faces legal trouble. Anna's spoon froze halfway to her lips. "They're arresting him?" she asked softly. Daniel nodded. "They're investigating. But there's something strange. Before Lisa was taken to the hospital, she left a message for the police. Something about a secret Mark kept hidden." Anna frowned. "A secret?" Daniel's eyes were dark. She said, "Mark used your name to hide financial crimes. That's why he tried to take the twins. He needed to protect himself." The color drained from Anna's face. "He used my name?" "Yes," Daniel said grimly. "He forged your signature on several bank documents and loans. If the police find them before we do, it could look like you were part of it." Anna's breath hitched. "Oh my God, Daniel, after everything, he's still ruining me." He reached across the table, taking her trembling hand. "Not this time. We'll prove he did it. I'll call my lawyer and the investigators right now." But before Daniel could dial, his phone buzzed again. An unknown number. He answered cautiously. "Hello?" A raspy voice came through. "If you want the truth about Mark Tran, meet me at St. Helena Hospital, room 204. Come alone." Then the line went dead. Daniel looked up. "That was Lisa." Anna's eyes widened. "Lisa? She's still in the hospital." He nodded. "She wants to talk, but she said to come alone." Anna stood quickly. "Then we're going together." He hesitated. "It could be a trap. She's the only one who knows what Mark did. I have to go." 2 hours later, rain fell steadily as they arrived at St. Helena Hospital. Security was tight, the halls quiet except for the soft hum of machines. A nurse guided them to room 204. Lisa lay in bed, pale and weak, her hair disheveled, eyes hollow. When she saw Anna, her lips curled into a faint, bitter smile. "You look good, better than me." Anna stayed calm. "You wanted to see me. Why?" Lisa coughed, wincing. "Because I'm done fighting. Mark, he used both of us. He told me he loved me, but he was only using my chaos to cover his crimes." Daniel stepped closer. "What crimes, Lisa?" She looked at him, tears in her eyes. "Mark's company was laundering money through fake accounts in Anna's name. I helped without knowing at first. When I found out, he threatened me, said if I exposed him, he'd destroy me too." Anna's voice shook. "Why are you telling me now?" Lisa closed her eyes. "Because I'm tired, Anna. You were right. I lost myself. Maybe this is the only thing left I can make right." A single tear slipped down her cheek. "Check the safety deposit box under his company's name. Everything's there." Moments later, the heart monitor beside her began to beep faster. Nurses rushed in, shouting for help. Daniel pulled Anna back as doctors surrounded the bed. Lisa's last words echoed in Anna's mind like thunder. Because the truth about Mark wasn't just a secret, it was a ticking bomb, and it was about to explode. So that's how the story comes to an end. But if you're still here right now, my friend, maybe something in Anna's journey touched your heart too. Sometimes life breaks us to show what we're truly made of. Like the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Anna's pain, betrayal, and strength remind us that no storm lasts forever. And healing begins the moment we stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" If this story made you feel something, even just a little spark of hope, then don't let it fade. Share it with someone who might need that reminder today. Tap the like button, subscribe, and stay with us. Because here, every story isn't just drama, it's a mirror, reflecting the strength we all carry inside.